did a demonstration on the ADSB, which is Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast.
And Matt, before you get started, what was it? Jangalis, your last name?
Matt Jangalis, yeah.
All right, and we're here at Home Server Show Meetup 2015, and I missed last year and what you showed. So yeah, if you could fill me in on what I missed here and what I'm looking at as far as
last
hardware.
year, I basically came and showed that there's a way to receive airplane tracking information through what's called ADSB. And a few years ago, it's been around for a while, and a few years ago it used to be you had to buy like a $700 box and special hardware and everything else. But what happened is eventually they figured out that these $20 USB dongles, they're software-defined radios, and for $20 and some free software on the internet, I could plug them into any computer or Raspberry Pi.
The cable's running
to that antenna over there. And I could watch airplanes track them all. I can also add to the internet. If you use applications like FlightAware, where you track airplanes, that information used to come from the FAA's radars, but now they're actually crowdsourcing that data from all people like me. And I can show you. And one of the things I talked about last year is it was exploding. Basically, in the last year, every one of those white dots showed up, and has been added in the last year or so. Anything that's like orange or yellow, those are people who actually spot real receivers that do this, like the ones that I paid for. So it's kind of disconcerting, you know, that I spent a few $100 and now you can get into it for less than $100.
Can you show me what's inside this case here?
So this was actually a remote station that I built for extending my range because I live in a townhouse and I don't have roof access. My antenna is actually in my office, and what it is this is a special receiver that I had. The antenna is still on the actual windmill, but this was power over Ethernet. This is a purpose-built receiver just for this stuff.
So this is all a weatherproofing.
This actually was sitting out for the last year on and it spent the winter out there.
Antennas.
The reason it came down was because of, and I was losing connections with it. It's because I found a bunch of corruption on the Ethernet cables.
So we're looking at a Dell Optiplex Atom here. How many watts does this thing use, do you know?
I measured it a while back. I can't remember, but it's actually not that bad when it's all fired up.
And what's running over here? Back here?
That's not mine. That's somebody else's. Yep. So underneath, what I did is because this was power over Ethernet, I got myself a D-Link power over Ethernet switch that's underneath it.
Okay.
And then up underneath. If I can get it off.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I hear Velcro.
It's Velcro. So you can see in there's power over Ethernet switch and then a power over Ethernet access point that I used, and then that's what these two antennas were down here for. I got a temperature thermometer hooked up to a USB, and then I loaded all the software onto this Dell, old mini desktop. I got a power distribution. Everything was waterproof, and I would use my friends. It was over at my friend's house. I used their Wi-Fi, and I was able to collect the information.
What are these other things you have laying around?
Oh, these are just demonstrating some of my Raspberry Pis that I had for hooking up to this. But one of the things that's pretty unique now is if you go to the FlightAware website, you basically have a list. We can show you. We'll just go to it. They pretty much made it pretty simple now. They've got a list of all the things that you need to buy and the prices and the links, and all you do is you download their complete image for the Raspberry Pi, put it on an SD card, take the dongle that you bought, the $20 dongle, put an antenna somewhere outside or up, take your Raspberry Pi, plug in the SD card, power it up, hook it to the internet, you're done. and you're tracking airplanes. So it's become, you know, it's almost kind of sad because it's now everybody can do it. It used to be like a hard hobby that you actually had to know something and do stuff, but now anybody can, you know, and you can track. This is actually the information that I'm tracking right now. It's not every airplane is going to show up because not every airplane right now is showing all their position information. But by 2020, every airplane is supposed to have this technology installed, so you'll be able to map out all the airplanes. And all this software is free, and just you can download it. So it's.
It knew our location. You have a GPS going, or
some of them you can. I mean, some of these to get it better they do other technologies where they can actually do what's called multilateration, where they can actually triangulate aircraft based upon where the receivers are located and the timing. And those can use GPS and things like that. So they like to get with the NTP servers for timing, but you know, the better the timing, the better the position location.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.